Hey y'all, so for my pediatric fieldwork experience, it took place in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It is called the UNC Helping Kids with Hemiplegia CIMT camp, and it took place at an elementary school, specifically Mary Scroggs. So the Helping Kids with Hemiplegia camp, it was a 7-day camp, so it ran from Monday to Sunday, and it's specifically for children 4 to 10 years old with hemiplegic cerebral palsy. They wear a specially fitted cast 6 hours a day, and so that's basically most of the duration of camp while they're there. That's minus any bathroom breaks, and then we do ADL practice in the morning. So they eat, play, and work with their unaffected side in a cast. So, a little background, the camp started in 2005, and it was actually founded by a UNC Health occupational therapist. And while at the camp, it was staffed with OTs, PTs, and speech language pathologists from UNC Health. So, children were split into groups based on their age. So, for example, the child I worked with the whole week was in the 4 to 5-year-old group. And so with the camp taking place at an elementary school, they used the different classrooms for different skills that the children were going to focus on throughout the week. So there was a fine motor, a sensory, there was also a game room, computer lab, outside play at the playground, and then arts and crafts room. So I worked one-on-one with a young 5-year-old. I'm going to refer to her by her initials as AD. She has spastic hemiplegic CP affecting her right side. Her medical background is a little bit more complex just because she has a history of congenital heart defects that were repaired, and she experienced a stroke at birth as well. And then she also has seizure-like activity. Luckily, while I was there, she did not have a seizure. But she has extreme weakness in her right hand and extremity, also accompanied by a lack of coordination. So the frames of reference used, NDT was primarily used and was heavily highlighted while at the camp. So this was inhibiting her unwanted high tone and facilitating desired movement. With the spasticity in her right hand, she had abnormal wrist flexion as well as ulnar deviation. And so NDT was significant in improving her posture and movement, which positively impacted her ability to improve her functional performance. So with NDT, it also kind of leads into the motor learning theory. So I also use the motor learning or motor control frame of reference as well when guiding AD through different interventions and activities. So this focused on task-specific, repetitive practice, and then intrinsic and extrinsic feedback. So in this case, her quality of movement with her right upper extremity and bimanual functional performance with dressing, feeding, play, and school. So all things that are important to her and important for just daily life. And so I use this frame of reference because there was a critical need to consistently introduce the use of her right hand for various activities throughout camp, and then also to promote that generalization and transfer of skills when she goes back into her home, community, and school environments, because she had pretty much mastered everything, doing everything with just her left upper extremity. Different techniques I use for task breakdown and grading. So I broke down activities into simpler steps than the ones provided to help motivate her throughout. And then also one of her goals was to don a shirt with only setup and minimal verbal cues. So I provided like an age-appropriate verbal sequence for her to follow that kind of became a song, putting on a short sleeve shirt. I also relied heavily on visual supports and the token board. So the token board was used to help her stay engaged in the activity and gave her a sense of accomplishment after each repetition during an activity. So such as donning her shirt 5 times for the 5 boxes on the board, painting 5 flowers on her cardboard car, grasping a half-cut piece of fruit and stamping it onto a piece of paper 5 times. Just little examples like that. Also, hand massaging. So this was to mimic ironing her shirt before donning. So this helped provide her with some sensory input and gross grasp with practice using the thumb, which also had it had very poor force at the beginning. And then also encouragement and social participation. So when she was with others doing the same task, such as playing a board game or she was eating lunch, she had more consistent participation and engagement. And then also verbal encouragement was really big for her. What I learned the most throughout the camp was basically meeting the child where they are emotionally, physically, and cognitively was most important. By the last day of camp, she was able to don her shirt independently, and she was also able to grasp objects like cups and different like paint bottles, glue, whatever we're using in the arts and craft room with greater force through her thumb to maintain a neutral forearm when holding, which I'll also show some pictures at the end of like different things we did and what holding and grasping looked like for her at the end of camp. So, also incorporating her interests and preferences like arts and crafts. She loved to make slime, and playing in the shaving cream was extremely engaging and motivating for her. Also, building a trusting relationship and creating a safe space for her to succeed, but also fail without judgment, played a significant role in her growth. She often doubted her abilities, but just through building that trusting relationship and then including encouragement was super beneficial for her. And then also the value of flexibility and creativity. So I had to learn to implement like quick adaptation skills for changing the environment, modifying expectations, or incorporating built-up tools like paintbrushes and foam tubing. And then also the camp's intensive approach just made a difference because of the length of time that you had to wear, the AD had to wear her cast. And then lastly, small victories, maybe in our eyes, are actually big victories for AD and her family. So seeing her be able to independently put on her shirt, stabilize a paintbrush in her obviously affected hand are small steps reaching towards big milestones. So I just wanted to show y'all a couple of pictures. So this was the token board used, and this was extremely beneficial. Hopefully y'all can see that. She didn't have a photo release, so I'll have to, I blocked out her face. That's her with her cardboard car that she decorated herself. This is her grasping a cup with her forearm pretty much in neutral and showing her thumb there. That was actually the last day of camp. And then this is her stamping with the fruit. It's kind of hard to see, but she obviously did more than 5 times here. This is the paintbrush she used to paint. And that's pretty much it at the end. It's kind of hard to see, but she was holding her forearm in neutral. And then there's a picture of me and the girls at the camp, and it was such a great time.